Webbot. Last report. Or was it some of his add-on things he was writing on his website? I think it was in the report, actually. He mentioned, and I believe he called the nation by its name, Spain. And he said, at the most inopportune time, or at least an opportune time for the globalists, the elite. I don't know if it's going to be during a protest or during some kind of newscast in Spain or wherever, however this happens. But someone's going to say, hey, why don't they do what Iceland did? Why are we passing austerity? Why don't we do what Iceland did? They're already in recovery mode. Very prosperous. Shh. Thou have said the unspoketh word. No, I just asked why didn't they do this simple solution? Bankrupt all the bankers that they owe the money to. Because that's who owns it. Owns all the debt. It's the bankers. Who's issued all the debt. Do what Iceland did. It was fraudulent to begin with. So, nice little headline here from, let's see. Iceland has hired an ex-cop to hunt down the bankers that wrecked its economy. Now, granted, this is just in Iceland. However, it only takes one instance of saying, hey, look what this one thing did over here, this one entity, known as Iceland in this case, for everyone else to say, because if Iceland just did this right now, what they already did, kicked all the bankers out, now they're going after them, taking them to court, punishing them in the prison system, basically the legal system. If that was just happening right now, people could say, well, what's the outcome going to be? What happens if you don't pay this debt back? I mean, well, they've already done that. They're already past that. Now they're going after individuals who caused the problem. But anyone who says, well, what's the outcome? What was the outcome when they basically defaulted on that debt and said they will not pay it back? What happened? What's the result? Are you sure you want to know? It's a very easy word. Matter of fact, it's 2 words. Immediate recovery. Every news headline I hear in America, sluggish recovery, the recovery is still coming but slow, we may double dip, recession. Iceland headlines, immediate recovery. Immediate as in a very short period of time, it's recovered. It paid back its IMF loan early. And usually the IMF makes sure you can't pay it back early because they know you're struggling and they know you won't be able to pay make those payments, and you'll be coming back saying, can we get better rates? And they'll say, yes, you can, but we need some collateral. And the collateral is your transportation system, your toll roads, your water company, right? That's what they usually do. However, Iceland's not paying back its fraudulent debt, so it doesn't have that burden. It can focus on just the IMF, which it did, and it paid it off early. And is now in prosperous mode. Wow. And I say now, but it's been in prosperous mode. It's already there. So, Spain, Webbot, someone's going to ask that question, and it's not the right question to ask because the internationalists, the globalists, the bankers, banksters, like gangsters, that's going to make them cringe. Oh, why don't we do what Iceland did? Oh, no. It's as if they're a vampire. And the light's off, and then it's on. Ah! And they're burning up as soon as they hear that. No, don't let them speak. Oh, God, no. We don't want the other countries to figure that's that easy. We don't want the other countries to figure that because we have to gain control of the world and have our new world order. That's the ultimate goal. We can't have them defaulting on the debt and starting over by themselves into Prosperousville. No, we need to keep them enslaved and in debt and add austerity measures and job cuts and tax increases. So let me just read this to you. If you were involved in Icelandic high finance in the run-up to the recession, I love that, just a little recession, that's all this has been, you might want to start watching your back. Right. If you were involved in Icelandic high finance in the run-up to the recession, you might want to start watching your back. You prestigious bankers in Iceland, Iceland's people got together and voted. They tried twice the Congress, or in their case, Parliament. You need to pay that money back, people. The people said, no, we don't. It wasn't our debt. It was a few people who had very high and great paying jobs in our country, Iceland, who sold the people out, have now fled, and you're telling us we need to go ahead and pick up the tab. After they got paid off, they had a fantastic lifestyle, they had great benefits, great job, paying job. Again, working in the government, you get the highest pay. Now they've left because they've just basically left a freaking massacre scene. They fled the country, and you're telling the people, we still got to pay this. We know they made decisions, but you voted for them. And they were your spokesperson, so to speak. So you got to pay it back. And they voted, and the president of Iceland said, I know our parliament has agreed. The voting you guys in parliament did says you want us to pay this back. But the Icelandic people have spoken to me in numbers, and the overwhelming majority says, please don't do it. We don't want to pay it. We shouldn't have to pay it. Don't pass it. And I, as the president of Iceland, have agreed. Those people voted for me to be the president. They're speaking directly to me not to pass this. And as the president, while I don't have much power, because Parliament and everything else, I still have veto power. It has to come to me as a final decision. And for that reason, I am vetoing it. And they didn't have to pay it back. And then guess what? You may find this hard to believe. Parliament, again, paid off politicians. That's all it is. Just take the word of politician away. Paid off crooks. That's all you need to know. These are politicians. And just because they're in Iceland doesn't change a damn thing if they're in America. The greatest superpower, greatest, strongest dollar. Yeah, okay. You got politicians. That's like having, head lice. You got head lice in Iceland? Yeah, well, my kids in America have head lice. It's the same damn thing. But we're in Iceland, and you're in America. You're, thousands and thousands of miles away from each other. So what? A damn head lice is a head lice is a head lice. I mean, come on. A politician is a politician is a politician. So, what in the hell is that president of Iceland doing? He's not going by the cardinal paid-off politician rule. What the hell's gone wrong with him? He's actually for the people. That's how it's supposed to be. Every one of them tells us they're for us. Every one of us promises us everything we want to hear that we know is right. And then they get in office, and then they can't reach them, can't talk to them. Get a little basic email back. We've got you. We're replying to your email. We will look into the matter. Have a nice day. I don't even know what the hell you said. Or they'll have one of their little crony guys at the very bottom just respond to some of these emails, tell them we understand how they feel. And then they don't do anything. They're too busy trying to make money for the next campaign re-election. So again, Parliament in Iceland, we got to do this again. And they voted again. Second time, gets put on the president's desk. Second time. He says the same thing the second time, basically. Overwhelming majority of people in this country do not want it, and the people are the ones who technically run the country. They put us in the power as their voice. And their voice is telling me, veto this. And by God, I'm going to. And should they seek re-election of me, I'll gladly run again. If they've got faith in me. Oh, they've got faith in you. Because you're the right guy for the right job. You're not a crook. You're not a liar. You're not stealing. Second time in a row, boom. Screwed over the politicians, the House or whatever, the Parliament. And that was it. Then the rest of the bankers fled. It was time for recovery, and it happened. Isn't that amazing? Le Monde reporter Charlotte Chabas, or Chabas, has a profile of Olaf Por Hokson, a former local police lieutenant whom the Iceland government appointed to track down individuals likely to have helped sink the country's banking sector during the credit crunch. Hokson's job description, according to Press Europe's translation of the piece, is, quote, on one hand, we have to investigate all suspicion of fraud and offenses committed before 2009. On the other hand, we bring the lawsuits against the suspect to court ourselves. He explains, this is a totally new method which allows the investigators to follow the case and the judicial system to know the cases like the back of their hand. This is indispensable in order to compete with the well-prepared defense attorneys. Huxon oversees a posse of 100 researchers to help track down outlaws. Now that's a proper name. Not bankers, CEO, former JP Morgan, former Goldman Sachs. No. Freaking outlaw. That's exactly what these pieces of crap are. He's already netted some major convictions since starting in 2009. This was just written a couple days ago, by the way. Including the former chief of staff of the country's finance minister on insider trading charges. Why don't they just write laws like we do in America? You're a member of Parliament, Congress? You can inside trade all you want. In other words, you have a get-out-of-jail-free card. You are allowed to break the law because we know if we allow you to break the law, our special interest groups, our bribery groups, if you will, we'll have a freaking heyday with you. We'll get any law passed we want. Because if we give you insider knowledge on a big move that's coming in the stock market on a specific stock or trade in advance, you may only need to come up with about 10 grand of your own money. Turn it into 200,000 like that. And then the next time we have a law passed, now you've got 200K sitting on the little side bank account over there. We got an even bigger move for you. That 10,000 turned into 200,000. It's getting ready to turn into 10 million. We just need you to pass this law. Man, I thought that $200 was great. $200,000 was great. I'm going to do the same thing and make 10 million bucks. And you know what? These groups, these lobbyists, they don't even have to give you money like they used to. They don't even have to come up and here's $50,000. We want to pass this bill. Although that still works, we got a better idea for you. And they may do it like this. Instead of giving you $50,000 like we normally do, we're going to give you 20 and some insider trader knowledge so that you can take that 20 we give you, put it into the stock over here 2 days in advance of the date that I give you. It's going to turn into hundreds of thousands. Again, then they get that. Hey, it's us again, or some other group, some other lobbyist firm. We got some insider trading information for you. It's going to go up 2,000%. Stock. We'll tell you exactly what it is. We just need you to pass this little law. That's how they run things in America. And you know what? Didn't do anything illegal. I love seeing all these comments on the mainstream media about LiborGate and Jamie Dimon's his crap. You know, recently where he had losses, but they turned into profit too. There was still like a $4.8 billion profit or $5 billion profit for the second quarter. And I read how they did that by moving things around, moving numbers around. Not setting aside billions like they used to for like bad loans and foreclosures. They would set $1.8 billion aside. This time they only set $400 million. They would do stuff like that just prior to all this in order to make it look. In other words, Jamie Dimon just recently polished a turd. You can't polish a turd. A turd is a turd. I mean, duh. Oh, it's a turd, but Jamie Dimon polished it. So when you looked at it, it just looked like this little brown, beautiful, shiny thing. Until you look a little closer inspection. Then you really look at it. Ooh. Smells like a turd. Looks like a turd. And I don't want to say it tastes like a turd, because if you're tasting it, you got some problems. But you get my point. So, they've already nabbed one of these guys, right? Insider trading charges. Many others await their day in court, he writes. And he will track you down even if you fled abroad. Searches continue and the team pursues its investigations abroad in the foreign subsidiaries of the Icelandic banks and includes questioning foreigners, he writes. We enjoy full international cooperation, he stresses. Now, this is an interesting thing from the same thing of Business Insider. This is where this came from. I didn't read this yet, but I saw it down at the bottom just now. 16 reasons to move to Iceland right now. Now, number one, I'm not moving to Iceland. But let's just see if we can get a little headline here. They had their crash in 2008. Things are very unlikely to get that bad again. We have like a next button or what? It's a safe place. The country responded peacefully to an incredibly tough problem in 2008 with only a small amount of writing. Instead, the nation attempted to hold their government and finance industries accountable, letting banks fail and putting their politicians on trial. How do we put our politicians on trial when they got their people in the Justice Department, the head of the FBI, head of the CIA? Because all federal crimes are going to go either through the FBI and especially the Justice Department. And if Eric Holder, who got caught running guns in that scandal known as Fast and Furious, and they told him in Congress, we want to see that paperwork, we're subpoenaing it, we want to see, or well, not the paperwork, but the documents, and he refuses to show the documents and emails, what does that tell you automatically? It automatically tells you that he knew about it, was it part of it, and it's going to expose exactly what it was, which was an operation to say there's too many guns coming from America going into Mexico, we're going to have an assault rifle ban or some kind of gun ban or something. It'll be the start of it. That's what it would show. And if it showed that, what would happen in America if they actually allow that to be displayed? The truth is probably nothing, because nobody pays attention. But they're not going to risk that anyways, so they're not going to ever let you see it. So he gets hit with contempt. And his buddies at the Justice Department, the guys under, he's the boss, Eric Holder, then the guys under him, we're not going to follow, we're not going to bring charges. I mean, we're not going to do anything about it. Really. So if they're not willing to do anything about it, that means that implies somebody, in order to let banks fail and put their politicians on trial, that assumes there has to be a way of putting them on trial. And since politicians, federal, the House and the President, that's federal, who could go and put someone federally on trial? Has to be the federal courts, Justice Department, and or FBI. And again, even if the FBI brings something, it has to go to the Justice Department, the Attorney General. Just like in Florida, a cop can write you a ticket or do something, you end up going to court. If the state Attorney General or even his minions decide, we're not going to press that case, drop the charges, the police department can't say, well, no, we're not dropping it. They can't. Drop it. Okay, we're dropping it. It's that simple. So, this is an interesting statement. Number 3, why to move to Iceland? They let the banks fail and they put their politicians on trial. And they did it very peacefully, very little rioting, which is actually true. How are we going to do the same thing if all the positions of power and legal authority are being ran by the same guys? I'll have to let you guys think about that one. Number 4, they've helped citizens out as well, letting the banks forgive 13% of the mortgage debt. Wow. And while life is still tough, and again, I think that 13% was perhaps the amount affected by the scams and crap that were going on in Iceland. And that's why they chose 13%, and it was probably those specifically that had something to do with what those banks did, not the entire country. Either way, that's fantastic. And while life is still tough for people, unemployment sat at a reasonable 6.1% at the end of last year. Wow. The economy, number 6, the economy seems to be doing well with 2.4% growth by the end of last year. Number 7, the country has a thriving arts and culture scene, especially considering it's just 300,000 people. And to think of how many billions of debt they tried to get those suckers to pay. 300,000 people. You freaking kidding me? There's around 2 million people in my county, Hillsborough County. 2 million. Iceland, 300,000. We're going to stick them with billions. Yeah, okay. Right. Number 8, and the government promotes this even during the crisis. For example, building the incredibly beautiful Harpa Concert Hall. Wow. Even during the crisis, the government supported building a concert hall. I guess, is that because, damn it, clicked the wrong button. Is that because the people, again, the culture, as it said, was culture, thriving arts and culture scene. So, this is the kind of people we have here. We're going to go ahead and build this hall for these people. When's the last time your government built something for you, really for you? or the type of people or culture, in an area or whatever? I don't know, never. Oh, we need a new baseball stadium. We need a new soccer stadium. Really? You're doing that for the people? No. You're doing it for other motives. The capital city is an exciting place with lots of restaurants and bars that are open till 5 a.m. Oh, they got the sheeple scene there too. And it's not, number 10, it's not even that expensive anymore. The krona is around the lowest it's been for 10 years. Think New York or London prices. Number 11. And yes, there are lots of good-looking people there. Not really a reason to move there. Number 12, the country has also some truly incredible and unique natural beauty. Number 13, but this natural beauty has more practical uses. 81% of the country's energy use comes from cheap, clean energy from domestic sources such as geothermal energy. That's fantastic. Wait a minute. I must have read that wrong. I think I read that. Let me try that again. But this natural beauty has more practical uses. 81% of the country's energy use comes from the nuclear industry and the oil industry. Yeah, right. Cheap, clean energy from domestic sources such as geothermal energy. Greetings, Professor. How about some geothermal nuclear war? What was that movie called? Was it Matthew Broderick that was in that? Shall we play a game? War Games. That was a movie. Good movie. Back in the day. Number 14. Iceland has become the leading expert in harnessing geothermal energy. Countries such as China are queuing up to learn the skills. Good for you and good for China. Number 15. The country also has a prime seat at the Great Arctic Game, being a member of the Arctic Council and sitting in a prime position for new shipping routes. In number 16, it says, okay, so there is one problem with the country. The local cuisine isn't always great, unless you like fermented shark, which tastes like very strong cheese slathered in ammonia. So that's it. But if you like hot dogs, you'll be in heaven. There's even a place called such and such, whatever, best hot dogs in town. And that's about it. So, Iceland is the key. Anytime your country experiences a problem, whether it's Spain, any of the European nations, Greece, etc., Italy, Ireland, you name it, all you have to do is make sure the damn TV cameras are on. And apparently, according to the webbot, someone's going to do it in Spain. Why don't we do what Iceland did? They're prosperous and they made the bankers pay. Ooh, we got to go to commercial. Exactly. Take care.